indeed a pleasure for us that you have made and this FDP today. We are really very thankful. Before we give the formal introduction of yours, let me just give a brief overview. This was a 7 days FDP, a 1 week FDP, 6 days FDP, sponsored by AICTE, and faculties from different parts of the country have joined. For interactive session, the participants can raise their hand and our team would unmute them so that they can speak and they can interact with you. Handing over to Anjali for introducing the speaker for day, and then Nitin sir could definitely proceed for the day today. Anjali.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to all. I am delighted to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us for the last day, first session of the Atal FDP on exploring AI using IBM Watson. We are privileged to have with us today a visionary leader and aspiring entrepreneur and a dynamic mentor, Mr. Nitin Jain. He is a serial entrepreneur with a deep passion for creating a value across the ecosystem. He is currently scaling an AI computer vision venture, Assert, with the vision to become the largest player in this domain. Assert is helping the clients make meaningful decisions based on CCTV feeds analysis. Under his leadership, Assert has empowered numerous organizations by enhancing workplace safety, optimizing productivity, and preventing losses through advanced AI powered insights. Before founding Assert, Mr. Nitin was the founder and the CEO of Macadalo, a widely recognized venture covered by NDTV, ET Now, Times Now, VC Circle, and Your Story. His entrepreneurial journey also include scaling Oyo Rooms Mumbai operations, expanding to 80 hotels in just 7 months, a testament to his operational excellence. Mr. Nitin has an extensive background in business research, data analytics, market strategy, and intellectual property, having founded in politics and led global research functions at Perkin Elmer. He is now known for his strong leadership, networking skills, and ability to mentor startups in strategy, operations, and marketing. With his vast experience in scaling businesses, leading high performance teams, and driving innovation, we are certain that his insight will be invaluable to all of us. Let us all a warm virtual welcome to Mr. Nitin Jain, sir. We are excited to hear your thoughts on the topic transfer learning and deployment and learn from your experience. Now, session is in your hand, sir. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Anjali, for the warm introduction. And thank you, Professor Mayank, for having me here. Really excited to be part of this forum. I'll switch on my video so that people can see me as well. Uh, I'm actually traveling, so let me know if in case internet is not proper. Uh, but I'll try to cover it up. Thank you again, and very good to see such a vast audience of people, coming on Saturday for a session. It's really, really heartwarming. Uh, so, my experience primarily has been on running and scaling startups, right? And startups across multiple domains. I've done startups in edtech. I've done startups in hospitality. I've in my recent venture, which I'm running for last 7 years now. We are building a company within computer vision AI. Just to give a brief background about my organization, we started 7 years back, and today we are a 100 plus member organization. We are headquartered in Mumbai. We have offices across Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. We also started our international operations outside of India, in United States and Middle East. In fact, today I'm in Riyadh. Very frequently travel to Middle East to build our operations here. We have an office in Chicago, and we are kind of catering to many Fortune 500 companies as well, right? So So that's where we are in terms of our journey. Series A funded startup is what we have as of today, right? So, Professor Mayank told me that the main idea of this forum is to give an understanding about artificial intelligence, right? And I understand artificial intelligence is a very, very vast field, right? And everybody has their own perception about what AI is, and especially if you look at majority of revolution has started in last 3 years, right? When Chat GPT came, people realize that artificial intelligence is not a future anymore. It is right in front of you, right? Either you make use of it, make yourself productive, or you become redundant, right? I mean, you very soon you would see people who are using AI in different walks of life, different job roles that they fulfill, and making themselves more productive vis-a-vis people who will just lose this trail and battle because uh, you are either laid back or you feel that AI will not change much, right? But AI is right there in front of us. It's right there in front on our face. Either we make use of it and make our roles more productive, or we just sit across and look at how AI will change the world. I mean, decision is absolutely in our hand. What I recommend in whatever role that you guys have, right? Try to see how best you can inculcate AI either to improve some of the work that you are doing. Just look across the internet, you would see hundreds and thousands of applications on AI which have come, which would make your role easy. For example, if you are into content creation, there are tons of apps which help you creating meaningful content. If you are in the let's say business of generating images, videos, there are hundreds of applications that can do that, right? So today, what I would like to cover is one specific aspect of artificial intelligence in which my company also specializes. And before I come to that, you know, if it's okay, Manoj, I think I can see your hand raised. Do you have a question, Manoj Pal? Okay, maybe it's a mistake. Uh, so before I kind of jump into the specific topic that I want to cover today, I'm going to ask the audience here, what do you think AI is? What is your understanding about artificial intelligence? And how do you think it is changing the world that exists today? Right? Whoever wants to participate, just raise your hand. And Anjali, I hope you can give access to the person and they can speak. Right? Okay, Bhupendra, I think he has raised his hand. Anjali, if you can give him the access.
Abhishant sir, did you get access to unmute?
Yes, sir. Already done, sir.
Already done? Okay, so the one who want to speak, they can unmute themselves.
Whoever wants to speak can unmute themselves and speak. So I just want to understand what is your understanding about artificial intelligence. What do you think AI is actually all about, and how do you think it is actually changing the things around you, the world around you? Like what are the changes it is bringing in your day-to-day life?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my name is Anjali Sharma. I'm a PhD scholar from Gurukul Kangri University. I would
Mhm.
just like to share one thing that how I am using AI right now for my work. Actually, apart from studies, I am a little sort of a content creator. I have a small YouTube channel and I
Mhm.
generate educational videos on that. But the drawback which in order to grow the channel is that I know only two languages, like just Hindi and English, right? So I cannot reach the wider audiences who do not speak these languages in India itself, right? So
Yep.
right now I'm finding a lot of applications of AI which are available, which are helping me to convert the language, the translate the language into different
Mhm.
languages. And it has significantly reduced down my work because I have to
Yeah.
learn other languages or I have to hire other people, and that is not possible because the work I'm doing is not that big scale right now, so that is not
Yeah.
feasible. But in some cases it is helping me out. So AI has changed the way I can expand my work. So that is how
Superb
I would.
example, Anjali. Superb example.
Yes, sir.
And this is the power of AI, right? I mean, imagine 1 year back if somebody had told you to convert these videos into different languages, you'll be scratching your heads. You'll be finding out content creators, translators who would charge you bombs, who would do a shabby job, and
Yes,
then
sir. Yes, sir.
you just can't do it. I mean, and just within a year, you have these tools at hand which help you kind of create this content, right, effectively. So very, very
For
glad to
small
hear that
startups,
example.
it is a boon.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing, Anjali.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody
Thank you so
else?
much.
Okay. So feel free to interrupt, in case you want me to deep dive into a specific area, just feel free to interrupt me. Don't think that you can only ask questions in the end. I always like to have an interactive session because I believe majority of benefits come when we cumulatively discuss and brainstorm and talk about things, right? So feel free to cut me off and ask questions whenever you feel I'm going fast or something is not clear or you want me to deep dive or you have specific questions. Just feel free to interrupt me, right? So thank you again for joining in. So what I'm planning to do today, right, cover a very specific area within artificial intelligence, which is known as computer vision. And I'll explain you what computer vision is all about.
जरा जल्दी से जल्दी आओ फिर मैं जा रही
Okay. So, uh, if you look at, for example, there are different type of artificial intelligence tools which are available to you. Let's take an example of Siri. Okay. What Siri allows you is to interact with a machine, right, on the voice. So you start talking to Siri as if you're talking to a smart individual sitting across you. Siri will understand what you are trying to say and convey. It will break down your sentences into words. It will break down into that into a meaningful conversation, and then it runs artificial intelligence on top of that and starts answering you stuff, right, which Siri has been trained on. So that's on the voice part, right? Because as an intelligent human, you can talk to Siri and Siri will respond back to you, right, on variety of questions, stuff, things that you want to interact on. You talk about Chat GPT. I'm sure many of you would have heard of, or maybe some of you might have used also Chat GPT in your specific domain. What Chat GPT allows you is to interact with a machine using text. So you can give a command to Chat GPT, right? For example, you can say, "Hey, Chat GPT, can you tell me what is the best itinerary for traveling to Holland?" Now, what Chat GPT will do, it will basically plan an itinerary for you. Let's say 5 day. Then you can say, hey, Chat GPT, can you I don't want to visit, for example, Rotterdam. Can you change that and give me some options of beaches, for example? So it will again run something for you and give you a revised itinerary. So something on the tech side, it will kind of look at the commands. It would look at what you're trying to ask, and as an intelligent human, for example, if you are chatting to somebody on the other side, that's precisely how Chat GPT would interact with you. So that's on the text side, right? Siri is on the voice side. Computer vision as a technology is on the video side. Okay, so what essentially you do in computer vision, there are video feeds which you can analyze, right, on the on-prem, right? You can analyze these feeds in real time, and the feeds can start giving you real-time information on different activities, different things which are happening in the camera feed, right? So these feeds could come in from variety of sources, right? For example, there are CCTV cameras which are already installed in each and every premise that you see today. Can you use those CCTV cameras beyond surveillance? Can you run a layer of AI on top of those CCTV cameras, which help you generate meaningful insights and information on different type of activities which are going on, right? So, computer vision is broadly about analyzing the video feeds using artificial intelligence or deep learning as an engine. And then, over a period of time, the machine becomes smart enough to give you information like a human would do it. For example, if you have somebody looking at a video feed 24/7, what inferences that person would make? Practically, AI can be trained to make exactly those inferences today. So that's what computer vision is all about. I will share my screen. So I decided I will spend most of my time on industry applications, not just the theoretical, stuff. So I would kind of present you a lot of videos, because one thing that you would have heard that majority of companies on artificial intelligence side, right, those who have come up in last 2 to 3 years, they're struggling to find actual industry specific use cases, right? You would see on the technology side there has been a lot of innovation which has happened in last 3 years everywhere. You take every walk of life, every industry, every function. AI has actually brought up fantastic solutions for all of those, but you if you look at on ground deployments, that have been pretty low so far. And one of the major reasons for that is people are still trying to find out use cases or actual applications where the solution can really add value. So I thought it will be more meaningful for me to present you real life experiences and applications of AI, and how they are helping in some of the businesses either improve safety, improve security, or improve the productivity and efficiency of operations that they do. So I would try to cover at least few industries uh, in next 40-50 minutes, and then we can break for questions again. Hopefully you will have more questions once you see what I'm presenting. Okay, with that I'll share my screen. And one of you need to confirm if you can see my screen. Anybody, if you can confirm. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So, okay. So basically, there
Yes,
are
sir.
tons of data which get generated in terms of videos every day. You enter any premises, you enter a mall, you see CCTV cameras, you enter a retail shop, you see CCTV cameras, you enter a manufacturing warehouse, you see CCTV cameras, you walk on the street, you see CCTV cameras, you get into your college, you see CCTV cameras, you enter the houses, even CCTV cameras are out there in the buildings, even inside the houses, right? So today we are completely covered everywhere with CCTV cameras around us. There are petabytes of data which are getting generated in terms of videos every day, every single day, every single second. There are petabytes of data which is getting generated everywhere. What do we do with that? Practically nothing, right? At best, what companies do, they would have a team of monitoring executive who would look at these feeds in real time, and they would be looking for certain anomalies. For example, they would have, let's say, 2 or 3 security guards looking at some of these feeds in real time and identifying if somebody is trying to enter the premises, somebody jumping off the fence, if there is an unauthorized access, if there is a fire somewhere, if there is a brawl somewhere, right? So uh, they would have a manual monitoring at best what they do on top of it, but uh, majority of them what they do, they it becomes a diagnosis tool. If something goes wrong, they can go back to the feeds, find out from the feed what has happened wrong, right? That's a reactive system, right? It basically helps you find some evidence of instances which have already happened. How do you make this into an intelligent system instead of having humans monitoring a CCTV camera feeds 24/7? Can you have a layer of AI monitoring these feeds 24/7 for you and finding out exactly what you want these people to find out, right? So that's where computer vision as a technology comes in. Now, computer vision today has evolved to the level that practically any camera input can be taken up by the system, right? So any brand, any model of camera that you have installed within your premises, that can be processed by the AI engine, AI platform in real time, and it can start generating alerts and insights for you, right? There are multiple models which have evolved in last 3 to 4 years within computer vision, where people have started offering some of these solutions either on the cloud or they have started offering these solutions on the premise. Uh, there are multiple ways on which through which you can analyze these video feeds in real time. I will not go too much deep into these models, but just to give a very brief pros and cons, when you do analytics on the cloud, there is a lot of bandwidth that is required, right? Imagine if you have 100 cameras and you're streaming those 100 cameras to the cloud continuously, the kind of bandwidth that you would need is a nightmare. While if you run it on an on-premise mode where the hardware is actually sitting in the premise, it becomes a lot easier for you to analyze those feeds because you're not dependent too much on the internet bandwidth breakages, etc. So that's broadly the main difference between these two models that have evolved, right? And there are multiple ways through which these alerts information can be pushed out to you, right? For example, as simple as through SMS, email, WhatsApp, push notification. There are ways through which these alerts can be pushed out to somebody who can take an action immediately on the same, right? So again, summarizing, computer vision works on video feeds. Video feeds could come from variety of sources. CCTV cameras is the majority source of information. It could be, for example, a drone camera. It could be a mobile phone camera. Any kind of video input can be taken up by the platform. The platform can analyze those feeds in real time, and through AI it can start generating alerts, information, insights for you. So that's broadly in a nutshell what computer vision technology is all about, right? Now let's move to hopefully a more exciting part, which is videos. And I will cover three industries today. And don't want to overload you with a lot of information also because it's just the introductory session, right? But I would like to cover at least three industries today so that you can see how computer vision as a technology is helping some of these industries improve their on-ground processes, right? So I will start with manufacturing, right? First, so let me show you how in manufacturing these solutions are helping out, right? And I hope you can see my video as I'm switching to video, right? Just let me know in case you don't see the video that I'm running through. I'll be happy to pause and restart again. Okay, so what do you see here? It's a typical warehouse, right, scenario where you can see materials are being placed on pallets. There are racks where material is being stored. You can see some of the people moving, right, in the frame of camera. Now you can see some detections happening there, right? So this warehouse, they want everybody who is moving in this area to wear a helmet and vest. Now it's very difficult for a through a manual monitoring to identify each and every person who is not wearing, right, or complying with the norms. This is an AI algorithm which is running on the video feed, and it is telling you in real time who are the people not wearing either a helmet or a vest, right? Now imagine if I can trigger this alert in real time to the safety supervisor. The safety supervisor can immediately take an action and tell the guy, hey, why you're not wearing the helmet? It's a critical environment. You are supposed to be wearing a helmet here, right? So it helps you reduce your safety incidences because you're making sure that whenever people are not complying with the helmet or vest, they are being taken care of. I'll show you a different example. This is from one very large chemical company, and you know this is an area where they clean some of the equipments after use, right? And when they are cleaning, of course there are harmful chemicals which would come out from here, right? So they want the person who is doing this job to wear this yellow PPE suit, wear this hot water glove, wear a face shield, right, and wear this boot. So you can see AI is automatically identifying if this person is wearing all the PPEs. What is PPE? PPE is personal protective equipment. Is he wearing all the PPE that is supposed to be wearing when he's working in this critical environment, right? So very handy, right? Nobody needs to look at this area all the time for compliances. once you train the CCTV camera, which is installed here, the CCTV camera can itself look at these anomalies and start reporting this in real time, like a human would do. Okay, so far so good. Again, feel free to interrupt in case you want to have any questions, because I'm sure some of you may have worked in industry, so you may want to draw a parallel or bring out something, right? For example, let me show you something. This is from, again, a very large FMCG company. It's a sanitary pad manufacturing line. And because of safety, secure, sorry, hygiene reason, they want people to wear gloves, hand gloves all the time. And somebody who's not wearing the glove immediately gets reported. Like you can see here, this person not wearing the glove, this person is not wearing the glove, right? So the system identifies if people are following specific compliances which they have to do, and if not, this image will be sent to their supervisor so that somebody can take an action immediately on the same. Right. Another one, for example, this is again from manufacturing environment or construction, for example. uh, People not wearing harness. If you are working at a height and you're not wearing the harness, that's a big compliance issue, right? It's a big safety issue. So the system really identifies if anybody who is working at a height is wearing a harness or not. And in case somebody not wearing the harness, that gets reported in real time. AI has evolved to the level that even something like a fire can be detected, right? Now you can see this all is coming from normal CCTV camera. There is no thermal sensing or anything, which helps camera process this. It's all through video feed. The camera is trained to identify fire, right? And the moment there is a fire in the frame of camera, that gets detected and immediately an alert is being triggered, right? So that somebody can come and take an action on this. Intrusion. So for example, you are running a factory, right? And let's say the closing time of the factory is 9 p.m. And then again you open again, let's say at 9 a.m. So between 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., practically you do not want anybody to access your premises except security guard, right? That's what precisely the system identifies, between that time period, let's say 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. If there is somebody who is trying to access your premises, it can immediately identify that as an intrusion, right? And generate an alarm, generate an alert in case there is an intrusion piling up. Okay, I'm going to show you something very interesting. Even visible weapons like guns, rifles, pistols can be identified. So we have many clients within banks, gold loan chains, who are always on a threat of robbery. So we identify some of the things like anybody coming with a helmet on, anybody has a weapon in their hand, like guns, rifles, pistols, people might be carrying. It can immediately identify that and raise an alarm in case there is a visible arm in the camera. This is something on the zone violation. Now, if you have visited any factory, uh, they typically have certain zones which are cordoned off. They don't want anybody to enter in that zone because of multiple reasons, many of which are safety reasons for which they do not want anybody to enter in that area, right? And for example, like in many of the factories, you would say there is a green or yellow or a blue pathway which companies typically provide. And the purpose is, if you are walking in this area, just walk within this pathway, right? Outside of this pathway is not safe zone for you. So even system can identify if somebody is breaching and going out of the safety zone and entering into an area which is a no entry zone for people to enter, right? Now another interesting one, right? So many of you would have seen moving equipments, right? These are forklifts, battery operated trolleys, reach stackers. There are different type of earth moving equipments. If you go to a construction site, there are drilling machines, right? Uh, all those machines are continuously working and operating. Like in this case, you can see the forklifts are moving. Now it's a possible collision, right? Two forklifts have come very close to each other. So the AI model at the back end can be trained to identify a forklift. Once the forklift is identified, it can see if the forklift is following up safety protocols or not. For example, if there is a forklift that is overspeeding, if you have defined a threshold limit for speed, it can identify if that forklift is breaching that speed, right? Or there is any person very closer to a moving object when the object is moving, right? It can again generate an alarm, right? Or any two objects come in close contact to each other. So there are multiple ways through which the system can identify and immediately raise an alarm. Now it's a very interesting area. In this video, you can see, I'll just take a pause, right? So you can see that AI has automatically mapped the body joints of this person, right? So it can identify by the movement of body joints how this person is behaving. For example, when he's lifting the weight, is he lifting the weight by bending down from the knee or not? Because if you don't bend down properly, you may have health issues, right? Like now you can see this guy has bent down properly, right? So pose estimation helps you in multiple variety of things, right? For example, if you think of it, it can help you identify, let's say, hands up movement. If in case of potential robbery, people would typically do a hands up movement. It can also help you identify if somebody is not exercising properly, like when you're doing a push up, are you doing the push ups properly or not, right? So there are multiple use cases that you can build on this technology itself, right? Pose estimation. Like we use it a lot of time to understand a man down situation, like in factories or in hospitals. If somebody has fallen down on the floor, it identifies that and immediately raise an alarm in case there is a man down situation. Okay, moving on. This is another on the safety side. You can see there is a person under a suspended load. So it can also see if somebody is under a suspended load again, which can be a safety hazard, and it can kind of generate an alarm and then buzzers to let you know. Okay. Now, even extending to the level of productivity, right? For example, you can even identify packets, identify sacks, and look at how many boxes have been loaded in the truck, how many boxes have been unloaded from the truck, right? What is the pallet load which you have done? So also kind of doing an inventory counting at the time of loading and unloading is where the system comes pretty handy. It helps you analyze and look at some of these things very clearly. For example, I'll show you another one on the productivity side where it looks at any vehicle that comes to the premises, right? What time the vehicle came, for how much time the vehicle was standing at the bay area, what is the turnaround time of a truck, right? Many a times you don't have any information on how much time do I take to complete a particular operation, for example, loading or unloading. So unless you measure, you will not know whether I'm doing it productively or not. When you start measuring is when you start understanding the productivity of specific operations that you do. Now some of this data, once you start generating, helps you improve the efficiency of your operation. Like, do I really need 2 hours to complete a truck operation, right? So some of these things start coming into place once you kind of start measuring these activities. Like you can see in this case, these guys are loading the material, and it is even counting how many packets this person is loading, right? Now if I take a little ahead, right, that truck has gone,
नहीं
right,
जाना
and
मत
then
बैठो
okay. All right, moving on. I would cover 3 4 more videos from manufacturing side, and then we'll go to another industry, but I'll take a pause here to ask any questions, right? So this is again on the machine safety side. Many a times, you want people to operate on a specific machine properly, right? But if they don't operate the machine properly, there might be safety incidences like people uh, hands get chopped off, right? Or but many times there are casualties that you see. Uh, Manually, it's very difficult to monitor if somebody is doing it or not. But like you see in this case, the system is actually looking if somebody is operating this machine properly or not, and if he's moving in the danger zone, you can even generate an alarm, you can stop the machine. There are multiple things that you could do, right? By looking at the safety operations. uh, there are things that you could do in terms of identifying material which is lying in undesignated area. For example, there are pallets lying in undesignated area. There are material lying in specific areas which are supposed to be cleared all the time. Like there is a protocol that says that fire extinguishers access has to be proper. The exit doors, fire exit doors has to be cleaned all the time, right? So if in case there is a pile up happening somewhere, the system can immediately identify that pile up and raise an alarm, right? Uh, it can look at, for example, security guards. You know, you can train on the uniform. It can identify that this is a security guard versus this is not, and immediately raise an alarm in case your security guards are missing. Now I'm going to run one video for you, and after that, I'll take a quick pause. So I'm going to show you one video here, which will give you an idea of manufacturing. Okay. So I hope you got a fair idea of how computer vision AI as a technology is actually helping in real time, right? Some of the manufacturing companies, right, on the safety, security, productivity, efficiency improvements, right? Uh, I wanted to present some real life cases, and I hope you guys got to see that. I will again take a pause here and see if anybody wants to deep dive into some questions, queries, explanations, etc. Right? So I'm going to take a pause here now. Nobody? If you don't ask any questions, I'll call out specific names.
So how AI is useful in marketing of FMCG products?
Shika, can you repeat the question again?
So I just want to ask how AI is useful in marketing of FMCG products.
Sure.
Like in FMCG sector, when we talk about marketing, then how AI would be useful for us?
Sure. It's a very vast question. I'll at least try to answer it from couple of perspective, right? Uh, so when you look at FMCG marketing, right, there are multiple things, Shika, that you need to look at. A, understanding how your competitors are placing their product in the market, right? And uh, both offline and online, there are ways through which AI can help you garner this information. For example, there are AI tools which are available which can help you see the shelf space. So, every FMCG company, it's all about product placement, because when somebody goes and buys, when somebody goes to a specific convenience store or a supermarket, right? The placement of product is very important. Are you placing the product at the eye level, or are you placing product below the eye level? How much shelf space your product is taking, right? So there are AI tools, Shikha, which help you identify how much placement you get vis-a-vis your competitors. For example, Pepsi, Coke, right? Thumbs Up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how much shelf space each of these are taking on a specific store is one way to analyze that through AI. So there are tools which are available, which are computer vision based or sensor based, right? Or other RFID based tools which help you identify that. That's one part of it. Second,
Mm-hmm.
when you take it from offline to online, right? Marketing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there are again tools available which help you understand the messaging part of it, right? And then creating a messaging which is more useful and relevant for a customer, right? I'll give a very subtle example. uh, Everybody knows this detergent powder called Ghadi,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ghadi was a very big brand, right? For a long time. Okay. When Surf Excel came, it practically kind of took the lion's share of the market. One of the biggest reason for that was, till Surf Excel started their campaign, every campaign used to be around that stains are bad. Stain is something that you should look at, not having something not good, and you should remove
Mm-hmm.
them. Every campaign was used to be around it. Surf Excel came up with these campaigns and stains are good, right? दाग लगने से कुछ अच्छा होता है तो दाग अच्छे हैं, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that changed the complete mindset and the complete perception about how washing powders are being sold, right? Today, at that time when they came up with this campaign, there were not many AI tools available at their end. Today there are tools available which can help you identify how your competitors are doing the messaging, right, around some of this stuff, and how you can change your messaging to kind of position your product properly in the market, right? So these are some of the ways through which you can use AI tools to kind of help yourself in the marketing. Apart from that, as an individual, Shika, if you want to use AI in your specific role, I would
Mm-hmm.
say there are fantastic content creation tools which are available, right? Which can help you write a particular article in a much more professional manner. Generate images. There are generative AI tools which are available through which you can generate relevant images, doing messaging around that and positioning it properly. So you should definitely use those tools.
Also, we can use it in predictive analytics also. So we can see about go through the purchase history when we browse on browsing. Then we can see who are purchasing our products. That could be also done by AI tools.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's more of analytics than AI, I would say, because AI would come into picture when AI can start also not just predicting, but also creating some of these things for you, right? But yes, as you rightly said, at least the analytics tool can also help you understand the historical information and predict some of these things, right, for you.
Thanks. Sir.
Thanks for asking the question, Shika. Anybody else?
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Yeah, Anjali.
good afternoon, sir. Am I audible,
Okay.
sir?
You are audible. You need to tell your name and then ask the question.
Yeah, yeah, sir. My name is Sartaj Khan. I am from Shivalik College of Engineering from Dehradun.
Okay.
I have one question, sir. Hmm. What are some emerging trends in transfer learning that researcher should focus on, sir?
You need to repeat the question and be a little more louder, Sartaj. I could not understand the
What
question.
What are some emerging trends in transfer learning that researcher should focus on?
What is transfer learning?
Sir, transfer learning means we have already a trained model, then we use for fine tuning that model. So, what are the emerging trends in the transfer learning, sir?
Okay, so I'm assuming you are asking if you already have some of the AI models with you, right? How do you make
Yeah,
them
yeah.
more?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Sataj, what has happened in last 1 year at least, right? Uh, Many of the open source models are available to you, right? And these models are really powerful. And at least I know many companies who have built their entire offering using these models as the base, right? For example, OpenAI has a lot of models that you can use. Uh, DeepSeek is another one that has recently come up. It has revolutionized the entire space, right? You can really use the DeepSeek models as the base and then build upon your entire offering on top of that. So it is changing the way organizations work, right? And it is changing the way the coding used to work. I mean, the base coder's job is actually in crisis today because there are tools which can do that basic modeling for you. So, uh, my suggestion, Sartaj, would be if you really want to build something, right? At least start looking at some of these interfaces which are already available out there in the market, right? And then build a specific, whatever algorithm or specific model on top of that, right? So there are many tools which are available now. You really don't need to build something from scratch. I mean, there are tools which help you create a model, let's say within few hours, right? And that is good enough to then accelerate your entire development cycle. I hope that answers Sartaj your question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I think Anjali had a question. Anjali?
Yes, sir. Sir, is there any real world example of integrating computer vision and blockchain?
Yeah. Okay. So uh, we are trying something with. I'll give you an example. Okay. So we are trying something with an agri-tech company, and what this company does basically it provides collateral loan to farmers to put their produce in their warehouse, right? Now, one of the challenges out there is basically getting visibility into the produce, right? That's why bank does not finance it because these warehouses are always on the outskirts of the city, always on the threat of pilferage, etc. So through computer vision, we have brought in the entire security angle into the warehouses. Now, using that, this company is now creating a blockchain, right? And what that blockchain will do is basically it will give the visibility of each and every process, right? From the time the produce comes to the warehouse to the time the produce moves out to the buyer, right? That entire process is being mapped using a blockchain, and it brings the entire transparency into the system. Now, it's a it's more challenging than it looks on the face of it. So we are trying to create something, with blockchain and computer vision put together, which would help banks give more collateral loans to some of these players. Currently, banks are hesitant because banks are also on the, they're also, they don't know whether their produce will be safe or not, right? So, but once this blockchain comes, I think a lot of these worries will go away and a more funding would come. Uh, I unfortunately don't have any other example that comes to my mind using computer
Okay,
vision
sir.
and blockchain. I know for sure if something like this has to happen, it will definitely happen in something like a banking or fintech because that's where it makes a lot of sense to integrate.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. Good question, guys. Huh? I'm really liking it. I would recommend more questions if somebody has. I can take more before I go to the second part. Okay. So if there are no more questions, then let me move to the second industry which I wanted to cover today, and it is retail. Hopefully, you'll find retail more exciting because all of us go to retail shops at least once a week, if not more, right? And let's see, when you enter into a retail store, and if that retail store is running an artificial intelligence, right, on the videos, what is the information that it collects when you enter? So my screen is shared, so let me go to the retail part. Okay. Sorry, is there a question? Okay. All right. So within a retail store, right, there are many things that companies do and understand a customer behavior. They want to understand how many people are coming to my retail store, uh, what are the timings people usually enter, right? Which sections do they visit and spend most of the time, right? How much my employees interacting with the customer, right? Can you differentiate between an employee versus a customer, maybe through facial recognition or through uniform training, right? So there are multiple ways through which you can identify that this is my customer versus this is my employee, right? How is my employee productivity? Like what percentage of time are they working, not working in a specific area, right? So all those are typically part of retail. Understanding the customer behavior is the most important part that most of these retail store look at. So I'm going to show you variety of videos. Let's start with this one. So this is a typical jewelry store, right? You can see, and there are tables where people would come and sit and look at a specific jewelry segment. Okay. Now, what do you see here? You can see that we have created virtual boundaries, right, across these tables. So the system can then start tracking how much time customers are spending on these tables, right? So if you want to understand which jewelry segments are more interesting, more popular, it can give you an idea, because wherever people are spending most of their time across all the tables are the segments where majority of interest is there, right, from the customer. You can also see it can do some gender verification, like how many males, how many females are coming to your stores. You train it on the uniform, it can tell well, these guys are employees, so that it will not consider them as part of customer group. Very well, it can differentiate that these are my customers versus these are my employees, right? So all those things in real time, it is running while you are going and doing some shopping, right, for yourself. Like you go to Tanish, can you do some shopping? There is a backend engine which is running, which is probably analyzing your behavior and helping them position some of these products and offerings and service properly. Okay. For example, let's take example of this one. This is a coffee store, right? And what it typically is monitoring here is how many people are coming to the store, and what is the queue length, right? How many people are basically standing in the queue? What is the queue length, wait time? This person, he over here, right? This is an employee. Is he wearing uh, the cap? Is he wearing the gloves? Is he wearing the t-shirt, right? So apron. So you want people to follow a certain specific uniform and gear because of hygiene. For example, face mask has to be there, a hair net has to be there, or a cap has to be there, a hand glove has to be there. It is identifying all that, right? It can also look at things like table occupancy for how much time each of these tables are occupied. So, for example, when you go and dine in a restaurant, most likely the restaurant will also be looking at how much time on an average do you spend on the table. What is the time when you sat on the table and the waiter came to take the order, right? So they kind of monitor all this stuff to look at the efficiency of the operations that they are heading, right? This is another one. For example, this is from drive-through, right? You go to a MACD and you stand in the queue. There is an AI running which will tell them how many cars came to their premises, what is the average time spent by each of these cars. Now you can see this car is dropping off because there is a long queue piling up. Now it's a loss of business for them, right? If somebody drops off. So in real time, if I know that there is a long queue piling up, can I send somebody out and take order? Now, I'm sure some of you would have noticed that when you go to a MACD drive-through, and if there are, let's say, three, four cars in front of you, sometimes they come out and take order, right? Now, how do they know there are people standing outside? Through computer vision, right? They know that there is a queue piling up. So customers might drop off. So they send somebody out to take orders so that customer will not drop off. Customer will still wait for the order to be, serviced, right? So this is how it helps, some of the quick service restaurants understand, these dynamics. Uh, you go to a gym, right? You are using a treadmill, you are using cross trader, you are using a cycle, right? They are analyzing, right? They are understanding on an average how many people are using treadmills, how many people are using cycles, how many people are going to the weight section, right? On an average, how much time do you spend on the machine? So these help them understand the usage patterns, understand, how well their machines are being utilized, right? So that they can come up with a better structure, better positioning, right? There are multiple things that you could do once you have this data with you. Like this is another one from the gym side. So this is the weight section. You can see it is monitoring how many people are using bench press, for example, right? All of these bench presses which are there, what is the percentage of time these are occupied or not occupied, right? Weight benches. It can do a head count for you. For example, these are multiple floors within the same building. Uh, many companies, they use this data to identify in real time what is the occupancy, how many people are there on each of the floor in real time. Why do they need this data? Because once you have this data, you can optimize your resources. For example, supply of electricity, supply of ventilation, supply of ACs, supply of water, security. It all can be optimized once you know what is my peak time, how many people occupy the building at a specific time, right? So you can optimize some of the resources and save on the resource cost once you have this information. Also, during fire drills, you would know how many people were there on the floor and how many actually exited. If somebody is stuck, it can immediately help you identify that particular pattern, right? This is, for example, many malls, they use this solution. When you enter the mall, uh, either they can do a facial recognition, identify you entered, and then also see, oh, Anjali has entered again today. What is the last time Anjali came? Maybe 15 days back, right? So they also try to see how many repeat customers come to their premises, right? How frequently people come to their malls. Uh, Many of the retail shops also do that, right? They kind of do a facial recognition and identify how many people are coming at what frequency, repeat customer is coming, right? uh, they also try to understand the flow of people within the mall. So when you are taking a particular route, the camera is actually tracking and checking which route are you taking, so that it also helps them negotiate better rentals, with the companies. For example, malls work on rentals, right, with the shops. So they negotiate rentals based upon the footfall. They tell the company that I'm giving you so much footfall, right? You give me better rentals, for example. This is another one. For example, this is, in a restaurant. uh, it basically helps you uh, track multiple things, right? For example, there is a customer that comes in, it can tell you the rough age, gender of that particular person. It can give you table occupancy, it can tell you what percentage of time this table was occupied, etc. So all those things can be done as part of it. Uh, when you go to a grocery store, right, it basically gives them an information of queue length, like for example, how many people are standing in the queue. And if there are more than four people standing in the queue, can you open another counter? Because many a times if you go to a grocery store and if there is a long queue, right, you probably feel that I'll come back again. Why do I stand for like 10-15 minutes in the queue, right? Maybe I'll come in a lean time or go to a nearest store and buy from there. It's a loss of business, right? Now this real time information in terms of long queue piling up and asking to open another counter helps them improve the customer satisfaction, right? This is, for example, another view wherein based upon the queue length, you can optimize your front desk operations. Okay, so again, summarizing in retail, what typically it does is map the entire customer journey for you. From the time the customer enters to the time the customer leaves, the entire journey of the customer can be mapped, and it helps them look at certain productivity aspect like how much promptly my employees interacting with the customer, which sections customers spending most of their time, right? And what is the overall experience of the customer, right? Even you can do a sentiment analysis looking at the emotions, whether I was happy, sad when I was leaving the store, right? So there are multiple things that you could do as part of retail solution, right? Again, I'm going to take a pause here. Let me know any questions, thoughts around this. Anybody? Okay. So if there are no questions, then I would move to the last part of my presentation. And I thought I'll cover one more industry, petrol gas station, because all of us go to gas station for sure, right? Everybody owns either a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler, right? And you keep on going to gas station. Now, gas stations, they track some of these activities very, very actively. And I'm going to show you two videos. Like this is a typical gas station layout where the cars are coming. These are called islands. The cars are coming and it looks at variety of operations. Now let me take a little back here and I'll show you. I'll take a pause here. You can see this person is doing namaste, right? Now you may not realize, but this namaste, you can see bottom, namaste activity is being monitored because AI can tell them how many times he actually greeted the customer when the customer entered the gas station. Okay. Now this car has come. It can read the number plate of the car and it can say whether that's a repeat customer or not, right? Because if the car has come earlier, the number plate will be there in my database. So it also helps them identify loyalty score. What percentage of customers are repeat customer for them? Now for a gas station, the customer is a car, right? So it basically identifies through car number. Now these people who are standing here, you can see people with caps, right? They are the employees. They are called field sales manager, FSM. Now field sales manager responsibility is to service a particular car and complete the turnaround in as fast as possible. So they measure how much time do I take to fuel a particular car. You can see on the left hand side, it is measuring the time for both the cars which are standing here, right? It is basically identifying how much time do I take to fuel a particular car. Now, you can see there is another car which is coming at the back. It also measures the queue length. It also measures the wait time. How much time do I have to wait before my turn comes? Now, when my turn comes, how much time it takes to fuel my car? So all these are important parameters because they are directly linked to their satisfaction, right? So gas stations, they monitor these things very, very actively. When you go and fuel your car, when you go and fuel your bike, next time if you look at a CCTV camera in front of you, imagine that is tracking your activity, not tracking as an individual, but tracking the operation efficiency while the operation is being conducted on you, right? uh, it looks at a lot of other things as well. For example, fire extinguishers, right? If the fire extinguisher was present or not. And if it's not present, it will immediately trigger this to somebody who can take an action. It also monitors even things like anybody smoking, right? Which is a completely no for a gas station, right? So somebody smoking can immediately be highlighted and triggered, for example, right? It could look at scenarios, even people talking on mobile phone outside, raise an alarm around that, right? So there are multiple things that you could do as part of gas station, right? Now, another part of gas station is the decantation process. What is decantation? When the fuel tanks, they come to fill underground tanks, right? That's a decantation process. Now, decantation is very important because you are filling the underground tanks. It's a highly hazardous process. So there are SOPs and processes laid out around it so that it can be done in an efficient manner. So again, a computer vision program helps to identify if the SOPs that you have mentioned are being followed or not, right? If anything is missing, for example, sand buckets are missing or extinguisher is missing or any critical things are missing, it will immediately inform, right? Somebody who can take an action on the same, right? So it's very, very critical. There are other things that it monitors. For example, how many people are kind of using a specific facility like air filling, how many people are using the air filling machine, so that they can understand uh, how optimally some of these things are being utilized. If there is a retail store attached to a gas station, like there are many convenience stores which are attached to the gas station, it also monitors how many people are availing that convenience store. So it also helps them identify, am I generating enough revenue for my convenience stores or my retail stores which are there at the counter, right? So gas station is another one because it cuts through our day-to-day life, right? Like retail, and you can see when you visit a gas station, right? What are the things that a gas station would monitor at the back end to make them more productive, more efficient, right? So that's the one which I thought would be useful. Uh, I would break for questions now. I don't want to overload you with too much of information also. The idea today was to introduce computer vision as a technology and really introduce some live examples, right, from industry and day-to-day life, where you really can relate to how AI is basically helping companies become more efficient, more productive by analyzing the data in a real life scenario. So I'm gonna break for questions now, and please feel free to utilize the time for the questions. Yes, Mr. Budaraju. I think you can unmute yourself, Dhananjay, and you can ask the question.
Audible?
Yes, Dhananjay, you're audible.
Yes, sir.
You're audible, Dhananjay. Yeah, you can ask your question.
Sir, regarding your computer vision, how it can be applied on healthcare sector, sir, in terms of hospitals or something? I would just wanted to know how it can be applied in that sector so that it something can be worked upon that also. Or if it is being applied, then could you please give us a brief about it?
Sure. Uh, in healthcare, basically there are multiple ways through which it can be applied, right? I'm just trying to find out a video which probably will give you a good idea. Unfortunately, I can't. Just give me a moment. Maybe there is a video here which I can run. Yeah. So I'll show you two videos, and maybe it will give you an idea. Just look at this video. Like somebody on a wheelchair, what is the wait time of the patient? If there is a waiting area, it can help you. What is the bed occupancy? If doctors are wearing specific gears, washing hands or not before the surgery, if the patient is stable or not, right? I'll show you one more video. Like waiting time of the patient again. Uh, what is the bed occupancy? If the doctors are available, nurses are available or not, right? If the patient stats were stable or not. You can look at the oxygen mask and some of these utilization. Doctor wearing PPEs, footfalls, how many people are entering the premises. If any fall down, patient falls down on the floor. Stats are not stable, right? So to answer your question, yes, healthcare is a very big vertical, and understanding the patient flow, wait times, doctors availability, nurses availability, some of the parameters can be monitored, equipments can be monitored, right? There are a lot of things that you could do as part of hospital. Does that
Thank
answer
you,
your
sir.
question, Dhananjay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Anyone else?
Good evening, sir. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I have a question. Like how we can utilize AI ML for sustainability in manufacturing industries?
Yeah. So again, Pratyusha, it's a very broad question. Uh, Sustainability can come from multiple things, right? For example, sustainability could be as small as how do you make your manufacturing more energy compliant, for example, right? Or sustainability could be in terms of how do you reduce the wastage in the manufacturing process. Or sustainability could be also in terms of how do you make yourself more productive so that you can produce more in a limited time frame, right? So sustainability could mean different things in different perspective, right? There are multiple ways through which you can bring in sustainability, and I would give two three examples. One is on the energy efficiency side. There are AI tools available which monitor the energy consumption, right? And also help you understand how you can optimize that consumption. So I know at least companies who are operating in this space, they do a complete energy audit for you using smart AI tools. And then they also help you reduce this energy consumption, for example, right? So that's one way of looking at it. The more innovative and challenging part is reducing the wastage, right? And that's where some of these computer vision tools also help you identify wastage on the floor, right? So we work with many FMCG companies, for example, to help them understand how much waste they generate on a daily basis and help them, kind of keep a sense of how they can reduce this waste, right? In terms of optimizing the operations, that's where you have to really look at how you can produce more, and that requires you to look at the manufacturing from a lean perspective, right? Completely, and look at how efficiently you can optimize and reduce, the time it takes to produce a particular product. Now, there are sensors and AI tools again available which help you kind of do a proper monitoring of the manufacturing process, and even to the level of that visible quality defects can be identified using AI algorithm before the material goes out or the product goes out to the market. AI tool can look at the defects in real time and help you remove those, defective product from the production line itself. So, my honest answer, Pratyusha, there are multiple ways through which you can look at sustainability when it comes to manufacturing. The idea is which area do you choose and kind of apply the right tools to optimize. Thank you. More questions?
Sir, I am Ilongovan, sir, from Tamil Nadu.
Yeah, Mr.
Sir,
Alangovan, tell me.
the videos that you shown is very nice and it was very interesting. And what I am having a doubt is this AI tool is going to be implemented, and these cameras or any other tool, a separate tool is there to monitor those things. That was my first question, sir.
So but today AI has evolved to the level that existing CCTV cameras can be integrated, Mr. Alangovan. You don't need any specialized CCTV camera. Any normal CCTV camera feed can be processed for AI.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So my second question, sir, in that patients, AI, how far that AI can be utilized to diagnose or to identify the cancer cells in a patient, sir? There are a number of cancer cells are there day by day, and the humans are losing their lives. Can able to suggest how many disease can it can detect or yes, sir. That's the second question, sir. Second and last question, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'll give you two perspectives because of my limited understanding also about healthcare, right? But at least two examples I can give you, Mr. Elangovan. One is uh, today there are AI tools which are available that help the diagnosis faster. Okay, uh, so uh, there are two parts to it. One is the image processing. So when you basically get some of your images done, let's say X-rays or scans or some of these MRIs done, right? In India at least, right? Not every doctor is equipped to diagnose by looking at a scan properly. Now there are AI tools available where you feed this image and it will automatically tell you if there is an anomaly or there is an issue with the image that you have done, right? Or the test that you have done. So right diagnosis and faster processing is one way of identification. Now at the same time, even your other type of reports like blood test or markers that you do, uh, AI today can process, let's say, millions of reports which are generated in the past and create a trend. For example, let's say if C reactive protein is higher in an individual, what are the chances of getting a heart attack, right? So those predictions are being done by AI models now, where it looks at some of the markers which were overlooked in the past, right? And by looking at those markers, it tries to create a correlation between some markers and some diseases which may come up, right, in future. That's another way how AI is basically helping thinking beyond a human perception and finding out models which can help your likeliness of getting a disease in the future, for example, right? So that's second part of it. Now moving to, for example, the R&D side where a lot of drug research etc is happening. There is a lot happening there on the AI side, not just computer vision. I'm talking about in general generative AI models where people are trying to figure out how they can faster the time to market. A typical drug, it takes about 10 to 20 years to bring to the market. Right now, how can you fasten up that process? Now, there are AI algorithms, AI processes which are helping that drug discovery process in itself to be fast enough, right? So there are multiple innovations which are happening on AI front on that part.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Any more
Hello.
questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Sir,
Hi, Prem.
yes, sir. Sir, I'm from JB Institute of Technology, Dehradun. We have agriculture department here. So we are working together for some sensor-based devices. Uh, I want to know one thing, sir. Which model, AI model is best for the crop prediction?
Crop prediction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For the crop prediction, we can use some AI model or neural network kind of things. Which one can be the best to predict the crop and disease also in the crop, sir?
Okay. So, Prem, I know there are couple of companies who are trying to do the same. I don't know to what level they are able to do it, but definitely, you know, there are companies on AI side who are doing that. Frankly, I don't know which models are they using. What you can do, Prem, is I will drop my email in the chat now. Feel free to drop me an email, and chat is not available right now. So what I would request, Anjali, if you can share my email with Prem and all the participants, feel free to drop an email, Prem, because what I can do is maybe connect you with the right company or the right somebody who can kind of help you out with that. Frankly, my knowledge about agriculture is limited, right? So I may not do justice, but I can definitely try to connect you with someone.
Thank you so much, sir. We will surely contact with you, sir. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you'll take my email ID from Anjali, and feel free to reach out. I'll try to help you out there.
Sure, sir. I will write to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Swati.
First of all, I would like to thank you for such a wonderful session, sir. And my question is it possible to use AI techniques to identify the quality of the fabric or distinguish the type of the fabric?
Yes, absolutely, it can, Swati, and uh, that's one area where again a lot of models are being created. For example, not just identification of type of fabric, but also the type of defect that can come in the fabric, right? Uh, in fact, we were talking to Raymond's some time back, where they wanted to create model which can identify defects, visible defects in the fabric. So Swati, it's all about training the models to identify the defects, right? So some of the major challenges that I see in this area is non-availability of data, because the machine learning, it based on historical data, right? Unless you have enough data set to train the machine on, it will not be able to give you the desired output. Now, the biggest challenge that I see is unavailability of this training data set on different type of defects, right? And that's where the conversation gets stuck. But in case, let's say, you have enough defect data of each type of fabric and defect, then definitely the model can be trained and it can help you analyze visually any type of defect which is there in the fabric.
Oh, sir, I want to elaborate my question a little bit. If I talk about the pashmina, the pure pashmina, right? And there are some synthetic versions also of pashmina fabric. So, is it possible by using this machine learning techniques or AI techniques to distinguish between that pure pashmina and the synthetic one?
Okay, so visually it may be very challenging, Swati, because uh, many a times the visual differences may not be grave enough for you to identify, right? For a model to identify. So visually, I think it could be very challenging. The only thing that you could do is, I think you have to go back and do the lab testing. That's the only way where you can do it. AI models will have some challenges there, because if the visual differences are there, for example, my question to you is, by looking at these three different fabric, as an individual, can you tell that this is the pure versus this is impure? If the answer is yes, then AI can also be trained to identify that. If the answer is no, that as a human I cannot differentiate which is the right pashmina, which is a fabricated pashmina, then AI will also have a difficulty giving you that answer.
But it can identify the difference between the quality between the wool fabric and between the this if I talk about brocade or silk, right? It can distinguish
Yes,
like this. Okay.
100%,
Okay.
100%. If it's
Thank
Hello,
trained to identify that, then it can, yes.
thank you so much,
Sir,
sir.
I want to ask some questions
Yeah,
on
okay,
this
Ajay.
session. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. And I am
Good
from
afternoon.
JBIT Dehradun College of Engineering. And I want to ask about the inception model, which have been used by various researchers for identification and classification of different types of data analysis. So that how can we design inception, and what how it is called as inception module?
Okay, so you're talking about image processing inception module or generalized one? But which one
Time
do
series,
you want?
time series, time series data I have used, but the meaning of inception, why it is called as inception? What is the theory behind it?
Okay, okay. So basically, Inception module, why they built it? The Inception modules were built to kind of build upon your models on top of that, right? And what is the concept of Inception? Inception means that you basically conceive an idea and you build upon that idea, right, over a period of time. That's an inception, right? So I think why they name it Inception purely because some of these time series models, etc., that they built, the idea was for researchers to use that and build upon their models on top of it, right? So that's where the name came in. Uh, there are multiple Inception models which are available depending upon how and what you are trying to build. But I think the nomenclature purely came from the idea of people coming together with an idea and building something on top of that. I think that's where it evolved.
One thing I know about that is that the this idea is taken from the movie Inception. One paper cited it as, because go into deeper.
Yeah, yeah. You've seen Inception movie?
I have seen that movie, but
Yeah.
one paper cited this statement that the Inception module are called as Inception because the idea is generated from that concept which is seen in the movie. Uh,
Okay. Maybe Updesh, I'm not aware. I've seen the movie, but I don't know if.
I just want to confirm it. But so, okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for
Okay. Sure.
description of it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, we can take maybe a couple of more questions, right, Anjali, before we break off. Okay, if there are no more questions,
Yeah, Nitin, it was really a great session and great learning for all, and a very good interactive session we had. Majority of the participants were asking, there were so many queries. One more small query from my side, that how can we use this computer vision for river body cleanings or landslides, forest fires, like these type of social issues which are very particular to the area which we belong, Uttarakhand.
very, very interesting question, Professor Mayank. And there is a lot which is already happening on that front, right? So, uh, there are drone based solutions, where companies and governments are flying drones into the specific areas and finding out some of these things. For example, I know in Malaysia they fly drones, and through image processing they find out if there is a deforestation happening, like if the density of trees in specific areas they find it lower compared to the previous day or previous week, then there is some deforestation activity which has happened, right? So a lot is happening on that front. And landslide also, through drone processing, uh, there are companies, etc., who are doing that bit. So a lot is already happening from the government. These all are the
Okay.
government sponsored projects, but yes, there is a lot that is happening even on the agriculture produce side, right? So I know a company in north who basically identifies how many crops have come right in a particular season, right? For example, if you have given 1,000 seeds to a farmer, like are there 1,000 trees that came or not, right? So that they know the deployment of seeds, etc., have been done properly or not. So there is a lot which is already happening on that front.
Thank you, Nitinji. This is something means we can find out. Is there any way for solution also? For example, means we can prevent or like forest fires. is one of the issue which is very much particular in Uttarakhand for hilly region. So we can prevent means not only find out but we can prevent or we can predict that this thing is going to happen using artificial intelligence and some measures could be taken. Well, like I was going through a newspaper that was written that in so accidents are there. So now computer vision is being used to alert the driver that some cameras have been installed at sharp bends so that the driver can come to know which would help him from means having that met with an accident. So something can be done that AI can be useful or computer vision can be useful to prevent these forest fires or cleaning of river bodies. Like Namami Ganga is using so much amount of money government is spending on cleaning of river Ganga. So can AI something or computer vision can be useful in how to get the actual results, not only judging the things, but how can we do this? If
Yeah, no, pretty interesting, Professor Mayank. I believe, uh, see, ultimately, for AI to predict a particular, let's take an example of forest fire, right? Detection, yes, it can do a very quick and early detection based upon the feeds, etc., right? But to predict that when the fire can come, there has to be enough data to go into the model of prediction, right? For example, when XYZ happens, probably that's when the probability of getting a fire is more, right? So one really need to look at different parameters which would go into the model, right, of training, and then coming up with a prediction model which can kind of give that result. Honestly, Professor Mank, I don't know if somebody has done that work. I know for sure that this is an area of interest from not just our government, but many governments, right? So I'm sure there would be research institutes working on this. Frankly, I'm not yet aware of any solution on that front. If you want, I can probably find out some and share it with you.
thank you, Nitinji. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
So, any more
Thank you again,
queries?
Professor Mank, for having me here. It was really, really
It
a
was
good
really
session.
our pleasure, and I would request one of the participants to kindly give the formal uh, thanks to Nitin sir. Uh, and good to see you virtually. In your photograph, you look entirely different, and entirely different. So, and
That's a
sorry
much
for
younger version of me. I'm
yes,
unfortunately
younger.
not that young anymore.
But sorry for bothering you. I was pinging you so many times and asking, and then Nikhilji told that you are a frequent traveler for different purpose to different countries. So really apologize for bothering you, and thank you
No, no,
for
not at all,
joining,
not at all. It's
for giving
absolutely my
such an
pleasure.
insightful, lecture. I request one of the participants to kindly give formal thanks. Then we'll move towards the next session.
Yes, thank you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee and the participants of the Atal Faculty Development Program, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Nitin Jain sir for your insightful session on transfer learning and deployment. Your expertise and deep understanding, backed by years of experience, truly enriched the learning experience for all the participants. Your ability to simplify complex concepts and share real world application was valuable, especially highlighting how AI enabled surveillance is transforming sectors like manufacturing, retail, and more. Your practical insight will help us to apply these concepts effectively. We value your effort in making the session engaging and insightful. We sincerely appreciate your contribution and look forward to future opportunities to learn from you. Thank you once again, sir, for your time and knowledge. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Anjali, for your kind words, and thank you, Professor Mayank, again for having me here. Really has been a pleasure, and thank you all the participants. You've been a lovely audience. Really loved the questions that you asked. Thanks again, and all the best for your future. You can take my email ID from Anjali, and feel free to drop me an email in case you want to ask anything. All right, I'll take your leave then, Professor Mayank.
Thank you, Nitinji. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.